Hi, I'm Karen. Welcome to my channel. Today, I'm going to be shopping my decks for August. Before I start going through the decks that I'm considering for August, I want to tell you how I did with July's decks. The two decks I pulled in July were the Muse Tarot and the Sacred Creators Oracle. Both of these are by Chris Ann, and I have used them together before, so I knew they would work well together. I just had not used them in quite a while. That's why I shopped my decks for them. And I did have a wonderful experience all month with these. This is July 31st, and I want to show you the two cards I pulled this morning so you can get an idea of how these two decks work together. I pulled this morning from Sacred Creators Oracle first, and I pulled You Are Living Poetry. And that is such a good example of how this deck works. It's so encouraging. It is for creators. It does encourage your creative soul, as it says on the front. And then it has like an essential meanings section that just gives you some guide words. And then it has a beautifully written section here. What's your personal brand of expression, Sacred Creator? Are you allowing it to shine through all the things you think, do, and say? You are living poetry, and your unique rhythmic nature reflects a soul story, a resonance, and a signature of verses that is all your own. And it's written this way all the way through. There are some journal prompts included. What color is your personal poetry? How does it make people feel? What sort of beat would it have if it is music? It's just so inspirational and motivational if you're a creator of any kind. I love to write, and this deck has inspired me to write so many times. Then from the Muse Tarot, I pulled the Moon. It also has a similar setup. It has some keywords and just a little section about the card. I love this part. Moonchild, there is ancient wisdom ahead, and yet you must meander into my moonlit streams of unconscious trust and allow your intuition to hear the gentle nudges of your knowing. Isn't that beautiful? She writes so beautifully. I don't think she gets enough credit for her writing. There's a little poem included with each of the cards in here also from the Muse. You were written in stardust and folded through time, and the seas of illusion are your mountains to climb. I adore both of these decks. I have used them before. I've said many times on this channel that the Muse Tarot is, if not my very favorite deck, one of my favorite decks. And this bonds beautifully with it. These two are pretty much a bonded pair for me. When I selected my decks in July, I did look at pairing some other decks with this just to see, but for me there's nothing like using these two together. So that was July, and it was a great success. Now for August, what I want to do is I want to use the Good Fortune Tarot. I've been wanting to use this deck for quite a while now. I also used this a lot in the past. I got this probably 2 years ago now. I did a deck study with it, which made me bond with it, but I haven't used it as much as I would like since then. This is by Barbara Moore with artwork by Jessica Rue, and it's just a beautiful deck. Barbara Moore wrote the guidebook, and there's so much information. If you don't know Barbara Moore, she is a wonderful tarot teacher, an author, and a deck creator, and she just has a way of making tarot easy to grasp when she teaches and understand what she's saying, and this book is just full of that. This alone would be a wonderful inclusion to any collection, and then you have the deck on top of that. The cards in here are gorgeous, and I think they are very good for August. I considered this in both June and July, and when I selected other decks for those months, it was with the thought in mind that this probably would be a better August deck than June or July. So I'm going to start with this as my base for shopping my decks for August. And I know I'm going to use this. And then I have several Oracle decks that I want to consider. If you have not seen any of my Shop My Decks videos, all 2 of them, I like to choose either a tarot or an Oracle deck that I think I want to work with, and then I'll pair it up with some other decks to see how I want to use them together. It's not always going to be the same format. That's just how it's been so far. This month I may select other oracles, more than one, to use with this deck, or I may stick with the format of 1 and 1 as I've done so far. I'm not considering another tarot deck this month, but there could be months where I have more than 1 tarot deck. So we'll see. I'm not stuck to any inflexible system. I just want to make sure that each month I'm pulling decks that I love that have been getting neglected in my collection, because that's the whole reason I'm doing this. So if you haven't seen this deck, definitely check it out. The artwork is clear and simple. It does follow RWS beautifully, so it's great for a beginner as well as someone who's more experienced. I love this artwork. It's very clear and easy to understand. It's not at all cluttered, clean lines, and the imagery is wonderful. And at first glance, you don't see that there's so much symbolism in here, but Barbara Moore explains all of that in the guidebook. So it's definitely worth using the guidebook if you're working with this deck. And one reason I think I may have more than 1 Oracle deck to use with this is because this is such a versatile deck. It's RWS for sure, but it's just so open-ended about everything. As far as I can tell, it's going to work beautifully with a number of different oracles. But let's look and see. I've got several here to consider. The first one I want to look at is Familiar Field Oracle by Hannah Elizabeth Fofana. I bonded a bit with this deck last month because it was my first deck that I ever edged, and I love it. Here's the backs, and I wanted something that would look beautiful with the backs, and I think that this edging does. And I wanted something to bring a little bit of character to the deck because it seemed almost flat. And this deck is just all simple drawings of animals, so I thought it may pair well with the simple art of Good Fortune Tarot. Let's see how they look. If you hear my air conditioner in the back, it's in the 90s today, and it's too hot to turn it off, so I hope it doesn't cause too much of a distraction. This is a possibility. I'm not sure. I almost feel like those crisp, clear lines of the Good Fortune Tarot make Familiar Field Oracle look even more, I don't want to say plain or drab, but I don't know, it just doesn't seem as crisp and clean and pleasing to the eye when I compare it to this deck. It's beautiful. I don't mean to say this is not a beautiful deck. I do think it is. It's just, I don't know, something about it. I don't like the pairing. I don't like those together after all. Familiar Field Oracle's not going anywhere. I will be keeping this deck. It's not on the declutter list or anything like that. But I just haven't found a tarot to work with it. And I don't have to have a tarot to work with it. I use tarot and oracle decks independently. They don't have to have a pairing. So that's not a deal breaker for me in my collection. Okay, the next candidate for pairing is the Sylvan Kind Oracle. This is another one that I used quite a bit early on, and then it's come up a couple of times recently in other tag videos and such, and it makes me want to use it more. And so far, don't want to get too excited right away, but so far I really, really love these together. Wow. I had not really considered pairing these together before, and okay. This is going to be a hard one to beat. Like I said, I'm not averse to having more than one oracle to go with the Good Fortune Tarot because it is such a versatile deck. But Sylvankind Oracle is definitely a top contender right out of the gate. Okay, then next up, I have another deck by Jessica Rue. She did the artwork in Good Fortune Tarot, and then she also did her own deck, Woodland Wardens. So I figured these would pair well together. Since they're from the same artist. And I've never really found anything that I liked to pair with Woodland Wardens either. Not that I'm always looking to pair things, I'm not. But since I've decided to try some pairings, I hadn't found anything that I really liked with it. But I do think that the kind of whimsical nature of both of these looks beautiful together. And I do think they work. So this is another top contender. Let's set this over here next to Sylvankind. As oracle decks I'm still considering to use with Good Fortune. And at this point, I don't want to choose more than 2 oracles to use with it for the month because I'll also be using other decks this month. I have new decks that have come in that I want to get to know. And then I have some special purpose decks that I use all the time that I'll talk about maybe sometime in another video. But I want to at least give everyone a chance. So here's the next one I wanted to consider. This is Earth Wisdom Oracle, and this is another Barbara Moore written deck. The artwork is by Christina Scagliotti. Oops, upside down. I do that a lot, you may have noticed if you've seen my other videos. But I thought with the writing from Barbara Moore, they may have a similar feel and work well together. And this is another oracle that I haven't really paired with any of my... Oh, it's so beautiful. I love this deck so much. And I do use this as an oracle, but... What do I think of this? Oh, I like those two together. I don't know that I like this one as well as Sylvankind and Woodland Wardens. So I'm going to put this one back and save it for another day. And then I'm going to bring in the last contender here, which is Angels and Ancestors by Kyle Gray. I hesitated to bring this one in for this because for me, this has become a special use deck. I use it primarily for past life and ancestral work. But when I bought this deck, I bought it because I wanted to use it for angel energy. I have a tarot deck I use every day by Radley Valentine for angel work. And I'm really intended to use this one that way. I thought maybe if I brought it out and paired it with something just as versatile as this tarot deck, it might help me to bring out more of that angel energy and get away from that ancestral aspect. It's angels and ancestors, and I want to get more into the angels instead of just the ancestors part of it. So let's see how this looks. Okay, I love this. I love the vibe of these two together. Now, looks like we're going to have a little showdown here between Angels and Ancestors, Woodland Wardens, and Sylvankind. Let's see if I don't know if I can get everyone in the screen at once. But let's see. I hope that's showing everyone. I've never done this on camera, so please bear with me, but I want to just take a look at everyone together. Well, you know what? I'm going to start out the month at least using all three of these oracles with this tarot. I knew that this tarot deck was going to go with all kinds of oracles because it is such a all-around deck. But I can't make a decision. I like all of these. For August, I like all of these with good fortune, and I want to use all three of these with good fortune. So as I said, I'm not set in any specific rules or system for this practice. This is a very flexible monthly practice. I just want to make use of my decks. And here we go. 3 oracles and 1 tarot for August. Well, I hope you thought that was fun. I did. I'm really excited now. Another reason I wanted to do this series is because it really gets me excited at the beginning of each new month about using decks and decks that I already own. I found myself buying way more decks in July than I wanted, so I really wanted to double down on this practice, and so maybe it's good I am bringing in such a variety for August. Maybe it'll help me kind of curtail that spending and use what I have, which is how I want to look at my practice and my collection of decks. Thanks for watching, and I hope you did enjoy this video. Bye for now.